Very good morning, class 8th. Let's begin with our next topic, that is harmful microorganisms. So yesterday we have discussed about the usefulness of microorganisms, and under that we have done the commercial use, medicinal use, and what is vaccination, antibiotics, and making of food items with the help of microorganisms. So today our topic is harmful microorganisms. So as per the usefulness of microorganisms, now we are coming to the topic that is foe, microorganism foe, alright. So microorganisms are harmful in many ways, alright, harmful in many ways, and some of the microorganisms cause disease not only in human beings but in plants and animals as well. So such disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens. Some microorganisms spoil food, clothing and leather also. So pathogens usually enter our body through the air we breathe, the water we drink or the food we eat. They can also get transmitted by direct contact with an infected person or carried through an animal. So microbial diseases that can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food or physical contact are called communicable diseases, and their examples are common cold, cholera, chickenpox and tuberculosis. So this is the definition of communicable disease which is there in your book. Please underline it and you have to learn it as well. So when a person is suffering from a common cold and sneezes, fine droplets of moisture carrying thousands of viruses are spread in the air, isn't it? So the virus may enter the body of a healthy person while breathing, so that the other healthy person will also get infected with the common cold. So this is how microorganisms usually spread from one person to the another. So harmful microorganisms, under this we're going to study that there are some insects and animals which act as a carriers of disease causing microbes. So what they do, if we are not getting infected and staying at home, we cannot say that we are not been infected or get harmed by the microorganisms. There are some carriers of disease causing microorganisms, like housefly is one such carrier. What does this housefly does? The flies sit on this garbage and animal excreta, and pathogen usually stick in to the body of the housefly. When these flies sit on uncovered food, they may transfer those pathogens which they have carried from that animal excreta, and then these contaminated food is taken by a healthy person. That person is get infected. So one more carrier is mosquito is another carrier, and an example of carrier are the female Anopheles mosquito, which carries the parasite of malaria. Female Aedes mosquito acts as a carrier of dengue virus. So all mosquitoes breed in water, hence one should not let water collect anywhere in coolers, tires, flower pot, etc. By keeping the surrounding clean and dry, we can prevent these mosquitoes from breeding. That is the only solution if we don't want the dengue and malaria to be spread, that we should not allow the water to collect anywhere. So these are there is a table in your book where you can see that the disease causing microorganisms which may cause disease in human beings. So here are the tuberculosis, measles, chickenpox and polio. And what are the causative microorganisms, like bacteria, measles through virus, chickenpox through virus and polio through virus. And what is the mode of transmission? कैसे फैलते हैं ये? Like tuberculosis bacteria through air, measles through air contact and air and water. So what are the preventive measures you can do it at home if the person is suffering from all these kind of diseases? So some names of the cholera, typhoid here is through bacteria, hepatitis A is through virus, malaria is through protozoans, alright. So you can read this and it is already there in the book also. Next is disease causing microorganism in animals. Several microorganisms not only cause disease in human and plants but also in animals also. For example, you can see here anthrax is a dangerous human and cattle disease caused by a bacterium, and foot and mouth disease of cattle is caused by a virus. So Robert Koch, he was the one of the greatest scientists, discovered the bacterium that is Bacillus anthracis, which caused the anthrax disease in animals. So disease causing, if I talk about some more examples, then I'll let you know that anthrax and tuberculosis in cattle usually caused through bacteria also. In poultry also, The tuberculosis, fowl cholera and diarrhea also occur through a bacteria. Foot and mouth disease, rinderpest, cattle plague and cowpox usually occur in cattle, and that too the causative microorganism is virus. And in poultry there is a fowl pox, ranicate and bird flu. You must be heard about, you already know about a bird flu which usually occurs in poultry. So it is occurred through a virus. So now let's talk about the disease causing microorganism in plants. So several microorganisms cause disease in plants like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple and others. The disease reduce the yield of crops and they can be controlled by the use of certain chemicals which kill these microbes. Alright. So there are some of the examples also, like citrus canker. There is a name of a disease which is a microbial disease. That is, causative microorganism is bacteria, and the mode of transmission is through air, and you can see it here in the picture. It is basically occurs in the citrus fruits like oranges or kinnu and all this. You can see the citrus canker diseases. Rust of wheat, which is occurs through a fungi. Air and seeds. Here the seeds of the wheat usually gets black in color. So rust of wheat. Then yellow vein mosaic of bhindi, okra, we usually called bhindi, that is lady finger, that okra, and it is occurred through a virus. And mode of transmission is through insect. So students, now we have already talked about the diseases, microorganisms which cause diseases in human beings, in animals and in plants. Now, before the food preservation, let me tell you that microorganisms cause spoilage of food also. Food may get spoiled due to the variety of reasons like not keeping it covered, improper cooking, not preserving the food properly, and change in the temperature of refrigerated food due to the power fluctuation. So what happens when these kind of things happen? Microorganisms usually grow in the food and produce toxic substances. So these toxic substances produced by microorganisms make the food poisonous, causing the food poisoning. It can sometimes even cause death. The spoiled food can be identified by its unpleasant smell, changed odor and bad taste. Alright. So the major symptoms of food poisoning is vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, headache and fever. So let me tell you the name of some of the food poisoning bacteria where the food usually get spoiled because of these bacteria. It's Salmonella and Staphylococci and Clostridium. These are some of the names of the bacteria. I'll give you in written the notes and then I'll write it down. You can note it. Fungi that cause food poisoning. Some of the fungi are also responsible for food poisoning, that is Aspergillus and penicillin. So it is very important that we preserve food to prevent it from being spoiled. So there are many ways of preserving food. So food is spoiled by microorganisms that we have already discussed, and there are some methods where we can preserve the food. Here it is a chemical method. So food like pickles can be preserved by using a chemical, salts and edible oils. Jams and squashes can be preserved by some sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite, and these chemicals are called preservatives. Alright, it is there in the book, students. Please underline this when you're going to read the book. After that, the preservation through a common salt. Food items like fish, meat, amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. can be preserved by using a common salt, and it prevents the growth of microbes. Alright. By using a sugar, food items like jam, jellies, squashes, etc. can be preserved by using a sugar solution, and it prevents the growth of the microbes. So all these methods of preservation ensure the favorable conditions are not provided for the microorganism to grow and multiply. That is why food preservation techniques are used. So there are some few more techniques. By using oil and vinegar, food items like pickles, vegetable, fish, meat, etc. are preserved by using oil and vinegar, and it prevents the growth of the microbes. By heating and cold treatment, heating food items like microbes. Heating always kills the microbes, and similarly storing food items at low temperature also prevents growth of microbes, and that is why we usually store few things in our refrigerator so that these microbes cannot grow and they do not get any favorable condition to multiply. So there is a famous scientist whose name is Louis Pasteur, And as per the name pasture, the process is pasteurization. So Louis Pasteur was a French biologist and microbiologist and chemist renowned for his discoveries of the principles of vaccination, microbial fermentation and pasteurization. He is remarked for remarkable breakthroughs of the cause in the disease prevention, and his discoveries have saved many lives ever since. So pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling as it is free from harmful microbes, and the milk is heated to about 700 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and suddenly chilled and stored. By doing so, it prevents the growth of microbes, and the process was also discovered by Louis Pasteur, and hence the name that I've told you, the process name that is called pasteurization. And storage and packing. These days, dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed airtight packets to prevent the attack of microbes. As you can, without the season also we can have those things, like if I talk about peas. Now also in summers we usually have the pea, isn't it? Matar. And these are preserved and chemicals are being used so that they be prevented from the attack of the microbes, and we can have it anytime. So here are some of the pictures of the pasteurization milk which you usually get from the market, and you can have it without heating also, as per you like it. Cold also you can have it, and by heating also you can have it. So pasteurization we have already talked about, and here are some of the pictures, like here pickles are there, jellies are there, squashes are there. Here's a picture of a fish, okay, where the treatment has been done here, salt. That preservation by common salt, and here pasteurized milk you can see. There are many stored foods which we can have it any time in any of the season. So before this, let me tell you the advantages of your food preservation, that it decrease the wastage of food by avoiding spoilage. It increase the storage period of food material, and nutritional value of the food is retained for a long period, and it ensures the availability of food at distant places and during the off season that I have told you. So the next topic, we are here with the nitrogen cycle. Our atmosphere has 78% of nitrogen cycle, and you have studied this from class 6. So nitrogen is one of the essential constituent of all the living organism as part of protein, chlorophyll, nucleic acid and vitamins. The atmospheric nitrogen cannot be taken directly by plants and animals. Certain bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into the compounds of nitrogen. All these lines are taken from class 7th book, where you know that leguminous plant usually store nitrogen, and they usually convert that nitrogen into a soluble form which plants can take it. And these plants which take nitrogen usually fulfill the nutrient in our body that is called protein. So nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant protein and other compounds, and animal feeding on plants get these proteins and other nitrogen compounds in their body. So when plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert that nitrogenous waste into a nitrogenous compound to be used by the plant again. And certain other bacteria convert some part of them to nitrogen gas, which goes back to the atmosphere. So as a result, the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains more or less constant. So this is how a nitrogen cycle works. Alright. So basically there is a circulation of nitrogen through living things, plants and animals. They die. Then it's some of the nitrogen usually goes back to the atmosphere, and this is how a nitrogen cycle works, which you can see it here in the picture. So let me tell you that when lightning occurs, strikes, nitrogen and oxygen in atmosphere react and form oxides of nitrogen, and these dissolve in rainwater and form nitric acid. Alright, and nitric acid reacts with limestone in the soil and converts into a nitrates. Then biological nitrogen fixation. Certain plants such as peas, beans, pulses and leguminous plant contain these rhizobium bacteria in their root nodules, and these bacteria can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a nitrogen compound. Some cyanobacteria like Nostoc and Anabaena also fix atmospheric nitrogen into nitrate. So there is a long process named nitrogen assimilation, ammonification occurs, and nitrification occurs through a nitrobacter or nitrosomonas bacteria, and this nitrification takes place. So all these things occurs under a nitrogen cycle. Alright, this we have already talked about and I have explained you. Alright, so denitrification, students, let me tell you about denitrification.